from America's heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. The following is a GJRB podcast presentation. Now, GJRB presents The Last 7 Days. In this time of lawlessness and utter chaos, there's a program that puts it all into perspective. This is the program where men and women gather to discuss current events and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. And now, The Last 7 Days.
I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We're running a little late here today. There's a new company out called Interactive Data Intelligence, IDI. Wonderful. They've been in existence for 1 year, and they have a file on every single American. A file on every single American. They've been in business for 1 year. Wow. And this is it's a company you probably don't know exists, but it probably knows more about you than some of your closest friends. IDI, or Interactive Data Intelligence, has been in the business for 1 year, but already has built a profile on every American adult. Their address, phone number, email addresses, the kind of car they drive, voter registration, hunting permits, civil and criminal citation history. It could even have your shopping patterns based on photos of license plates taken at private businesses or purchases on money-saving websites, which it owns according to Bloomberg, and it actually has more than that. Wonderful. The company, which employs 200 people, posted roughly $40 billion in revenue last quarter, compiles the information into individual profiles, including on younger adults who you wouldn't ordinarily appear on other databases. We have data on the 21-year-old who's living at home with mom and dad, CEO Derek Dubner said. IDI database can be accessed with the login by going to idicore.com and can be accessed by private investigators looking for anything that they can find on potential suspects or persons of interest. Upon entering the system, the private investigators is required to choose a reason for which they are seeking their data, which must comply with U.S. privacy laws. But they're making $40 million a quarter. $40 million a quarter. Oh, I thought last quarter. No, they made $40 million last quarter. And that's just blackmail alone. And the whole thing, of it is they're not just selling to private. They're just not using private investigators. No. While Dubner claims that the database is mostly used by finding people who have gone missing or catching criminals, private investigator Steve Rambam hosted Nowhere to Hide in the Investigation Discovery Channel, suggested the system is being used for more than that. Yeah. You may not know what you do on a regular basis, but I know. I know it's Thursday and you haven't eaten Chinese food for 2 weeks, and I know that you are due. That's too much. That is too much. Company one year old. It has a file on every single adult. Big government in the United States. Now I see the advantage of being the illegal alien.
Except homeless people that are somebody that doesn't have any social media, anything. How would they know? Unless we're all chipped, how do they know where everyone is? But you know what I mean? How can they? Because they talked about that. I heard that they were going to chip everybody.
Well, that's what we're heading. That's what we're heading. Yeah, they're doing that over in England. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually in the healthcare laws that by, I think, starting next year, they're going to start invoking that in our healthcare system.
And our government voted for all that and approved all that for all of us?
No, they didn't read it, remember? It's all part of Obamacare. Yeah. Too big to read.
Wow. The man so stuck on himself, he had to have a care package that he had.
And this I found kind of interesting. Obama says he's being forced out of the White House. Obama's being forced out of the White House. Well, he never intended to leave, and now he's being forced out. So, I mean, other than the Constitution may be forcing him out, and maybe other than the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton may be forcing him out, other than that, and his term is up, but it makes me kind of wonder who's forcing him out? Who's forcing him out?
Thanks, honey.
Because all they got start World War III, and
he said this on the Golf Channel, which is kind of irony. He said this on the Golf Channel that he was being forced out to leave the executive mansion in January. I'm being forced out. I didn't quit, Obama said. So
what a shame.
Kind of interesting. Well, I'm not a Republican. Well, I'm not either, but I mean, it's kind of interesting that he was forced out.
That's tongue-in-cheek, though.
Yeah, it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but you know, he also guaranteed that Trump would never be president of the country.
Yeah, he's not qualified. Trump's not qualified.
Well, he may not be qualified, but how can you make that kind of assurance?
Especially with someone who isn't qualified himself.
How can you make that kind of assurance that you guarantee that's not going to happen?
Everybody wants as much of a change that they think, let's try this.
It's a big change.
I mean, for all the candidates they had, they ended up with him. They had some good candidates.
Yeah.
Ben Carson is awesome.
Yeah. I still wish Ben Carson would have stayed in. I really wish he would have stayed in.
No, he didn't.
Well, he had those, the staffer in Iowa got killed in the Van Act, and that was at a key time.
Yeah. But you know what?
That's good. That needs to go. Anyhow, I've been reporting on this the last few weeks. Satan clubs request hit school. There's a number of states that are getting applications at their schools to have a Satanist club. An after-school Satanist club, and let's see, Kansas City, Missouri. After-school religious clubs appear to be the next venue of a national group that sought to install a statue of Satan outside of two state capitals to protest Christian monuments on public grounds. The Satanic Temple contacted 9 public school districts across the country this week to start an after-school Satan program in all but one district. Religious clubs are operated by the Child Evangelism Fellowship Good News Club, in which students can study the Bible and pray, according to Temple co-founder Lucien Greaves. So in Missouri, the Satanic Temple, which is based in Salem, Massachusetts, and its chapters in several states, said it wants to counter well-funded fundamentalist Christian organizations that it believes are eroding the separation of church and state in public schools. Greaves said the after-school program would show that people can be different religious opinions and still be moral, upright people. Yeah?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't believe that, but they use the word moral. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm going to have to ponder that one moment. Yeah, I know.
I know. Like that.
The Springfield Public School District in Missouri also said it was reviewing the group's request. It noted that granting requests to use the district's taxpayer-funded facilities does not constitute the district's endorsement. So, other districts districts in Georgia, California, Florida, Oregon, Washington State, and Arizona are also getting contacted. So, and there's really, and I'm not opposed necessarily to, because there's freedom of religion, but it's kind of the sad state that we're in, is in public schools, which are basically non-Christian anyhow, are now getting requests by Satanist groups to open up an after-school club for Satanists.
I don't see how the school boards would allow, as far as it being considered a school function or acting on school grounds. Well, I'm just saying, I know, but
Yeah, it depends on what the school board's made up of.
There, so they got to let Satanist groups. I understand that. But it's just, the schools are so anti-Christian as it is.
So many states don't even say the pledge, or does anybody across the country say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore?
No.
So if you can't do that, see what I'm saying? I'm really surprised they would tolerate any of that.
Well, it's after school, and you can't pass out material during school hours or talk about it during school hours.
But do they actually have it on the school grounds, or do they have it on the...
Yeah, they actually have it on the school grounds.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I just saw something the other day where they're putting Allah in the Pledge of Allegiance.
What?
They're putting Allah in the Pledge of Allegiance.
In some places.
One nation under Allah. Yeah.
So some places out in California they did that. Swedish church uses drones to drop thousands of Bible in ISIS-controlled Iraq.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was good.
A good use for drones.
Especially it'll shoot them down.
Well, yeah. A major evangelical free church in Sweden is preparing to use drones to drop thousands of Bibles in areas of Iraq controlled by the Islamic State. The Livets Ord, or Word of Life Church in Uppsala, in the north of Sweden, has said it will use drones flying at high altitude to release thousands of small electronic Bibles into Iraq. The Bibles are the size of a pillbox and have a display. They require no electricity, but work on their own. The church mission director of this local newspaper said, "Our ambition to pass on the hope and love of Christian gospel to the population living in closed areas where they are being denied human rights," said the church homepage.
They don't break after they drop, and anybody just got.
So anyhow, there's a church in Sweden that is going to use drones to drop off these electronic Bibles in ISIS-controlled parts of the country. Now, the thing about this church is, what's interesting about this church is this is back in 2014, the founders of this church were the ones who converted. Remember, we talked about this like 2 years ago. These are the ones that converted back to Catholicism. The founders left the church and went back to Catholicism. They left this church that they founded and went back to Catholicism. There's a big story about that. It was the biggest church in Sweden. Then I got a couple stories here. Yeah, sounds like it. Couple articles here on the temple, the building of the temple. I'll read just this one. The Temple Institute has brought the third temple one step closer by establishing a school for Jewish priests, the Kohanim, to learn how to perform the temple services. The group of students certified for being from the priestly caste stands ready to learn all the details of their complicated task, which may become relevant sooner than anyone thinks. 4 months ago, the Temple Institute established a registry for the Kohanim, a list of men who have clearly patriotic heritage from the priestly class. The Kohanim must fit certain criteria in addition to having priestly heritage. They must have been born and raised in Israel and observed the laws of purity incumbent upon priests. This this includes anyone who comes into proximity with the dead. So priests who are born in hospitals, have visited hospitals, or have entered cemeteries are ineligible. So, that was part of the Old Testament law, that you could not be associated with anything dead. And so what I didn't know is now they interpret that as if you were born in a hospital where people have died, or if you have visited a hospital where people have died, or have entered in a cemetery, you're ineligible to be a priest. It's kind of interesting. That's it. The Temple Institute was founded in 1987 to fulfill the mission to bring about the Third Temple. In addition to educating and raising awareness, the Institute made amazing practical progress in this daunting task. It has recreated over 70 vessels that are ready to be used in the temple, is breeding the red heifer in order to purify the nation of Israel, and has produced a special garb the Bible requires for the Kohanim to wear while performing the temple service. The Institute has also reconstructed the high priest's breastplate featuring the 12 precious stones of the tribes of Israel, a half-ton golden menorah, and will stand inside the temple, and the musical instruments of the Levitical choir. In addition, it has made significant advancements in preparing the architectural plans for building of the temple. In order to further their goal, the Temple Institute established the Nizar Haydekush Institute for Kohanic Studies to instruct Jews from the priestly caste in temple service. This comes after 4 years of extensive pilot programs. In new programs, students will learn the Hadassah, or the Torah law relevant to the temple services. And this is this is the 3rd year that the temple priests have been learning how to minister in the temple. Now, I thought, you sacrifice animals, and what else is there? Listen to this. The Temple Institute course of study includes the role and application of modern technology in the Third Temple. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, that is.
Let's stop and talk about that. Remember, of course I left my Bible at home. I remember everything from my Bible. Bad. But you notice how the Antichrist gave power to the image and it spoke? And some people think that could be like 3D, holographic. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that years ago.
So let's go back. This is what they're studying: the role and application of modern technology in the Third Temple, the mathematics of the Holy Temple, the temple service, theory and practice, Holy Temple administration, the sacred temple vessels, aspects of engineering and design, and the topography of the Temple Mount and the structure of Ezekiel's temple. These are all courses that they're taking. The mathematics of the Holy Temple. I guess the certain dimensions, I guess.
Are they considering mathematics that like dates and things?
No, I think that they're thinking about the size of the temple.
Dimensions?
Because it gave, God gave, David and then passed on to Solomon. He built the first temple dimension. So I've always said that they could, they could probably build a temple just about any size they want to, but maybe not. Maybe they're going back to the original dimensions that God had given them. Makes sense, I suppose. Discussing plans to build the Jewish temple in the Temple Mount is considered by some to be excitement of Muslim violence. The Temple Institute is advancing the the 2,000-year-old dream of a temple in Jerusalem in a way that does not disturb Muslim observance on the Temple Mount. And here we go, as we talked about this in the last couple of weeks. The first job of the Kohanim posed by the Institute will be to incite the red heifer service, which is performed outside the Temple Mount. Israel's chief Rabbi David Luz and several other Israeli politicians have suggested allowing the multi-faith prayer at the site that would involve removing or renovating the Muslim structure. So what they're calling for is just what others have been calling for. They're calling for a multi-religion center, or a one world center where other religions can also worship. So that probably is going to be the compromise, where a place where other religions can also have services. That's what our Pope is suggesting. That's what certain Muslims are suggesting. Certain Israelis are suggesting is the answer, is to create a place for all the world religions to be able to meet. So, well, yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sure, it's trust.
I mean, the Catholics and Protestants couldn't even get along. They're really opening up. I mean, it's a nice idea. You'd love to see it work, but
well, here's
I'm trying to be pessimistic about it.
No, but here's this is based on Pope Francis's trip. Based on Pope Francis's trip to Poland, is Pope Francis promoting a one world religion and new world order. On Sunday, Pope Francis told hundreds of thousands of young people gathered in the World Youth Day in Poland that they need to believe in a new humanity, and that they should refuse to see borders as barriers. And then every 2 or 3 years, Catholics from all over the planet converge for one of these great conferences, and you will see below the Pope has been not shy about using historical occasions to promote his agenda. Unfortunately, it's become extremely clear that his agenda includes moving humanity toward a one-world religion and a new world order. Let's start with the Pope, what he had to say at the Youth World Day conference on last Sunday. People may judge you to be dreamers because you believe in a new humanity, one that rejects hatred between people, one that refuses to see borders as barriers and can cherish its own traditions without being self-centered or small-minded, Francis told his flock. And then in May of 2016, Pope Francis welcomed one of the top Sunni clerics in the world to the Vatican, and he reportedly told the cleric that our meeting is the message. The mainstream news outlets over all the planet clearly understood what was being communicated. For example, the Daily Mail had an article about this meeting and entitled it "Pope Embraces Grand Imam and Historical Vatican Meeting in a Bid to Bring the Catholic and Muslim Churches Together." January 2016, the Vatican released an extremely disturbing video which Pope Francis declared that all the major world religions are seeking God or meeting God in different ways, and that ultimately we are children of God. The video also featured leaders from various religions that they were shown declaring fidelity to their particular gods. First, to see a female Buddhist cleric tell us, "I have confidence in Buddha," and that is followed by a Jewish rabbi declaring, "I believe in God." As the video goes on, a Catholic priest announces, "I believe in Jesus Christ," and last was an Islamic leader boldly declares, "I believe in God, Allah." In November 2015, Pope Francis declared that fundamentalism, even Christian fundamentalism, is a sickness during the remarks in which he stressed the similarity of major religions. And all these major points we've talked about in our meetings. September 2015, Pope Francis traveled to New York City to deliver a speech that kicked off a conference during which the United Nations unveiled a new universal agenda for humanity. September 2015, during a stop at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Pope Francis stressed the unity between Christians and Islam. These words were directly spoken by him. I would like to express two sentiments for my Muslim brothers and sisters. Firstly, my greetings as they celebrate the Feast of the Sacrifice. I have wished my greetings to be warmer, my sentiments of closeness in the face of tragedy, the tragedy that they suffered in Mecca. July 2015, during a trip to Ecuador, Pope Francis spoke of the need for a new economic and ecological world order in which the wealth of the planet is shared by everyone. Also in July of 2015, Pope Francis denounced global capitalism and referred to the excess as dung of the devil. June 2015, Pope Francis called a new global political authority that would have the resources necessary to deal with the world's economic problems and injustices. October 2014, Pope Francis embraced the theory of evolution by making statements such as, when we read about creation in Genesis, we run the risk of imagining God was a magician with a magic wand able to do everything, but that is not so. The Big Bang, which today we hold to be the origin of the world, does not contradict the intervention of the divine creator, but rather requires it. And he goes on to say some more things about evolution. June 2014, for the first time in the history of Catholicism, Pope Francis authorized Islamic prayers and reading of the Quran at the Vatican. In ancient times it would have been considered blasphemy, but today nobody really even notices when something like this happens.
The last 7 days, we'll be right back. You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, smooth jazz, and smooth afternoon. If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming, and programming in other great music formats, like blues, urban, including rap, also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA, listen, and enjoy. Strange things in the sky and around the world. Strange beings sighted. What's going on? All around us, conspiracy theories are being discussed. This is the show all about the strange things that are way out there. I'm Gary Russ, and this Way Out There's back with more weird stories of the strange and the bizarre. Keep looking up in the sky and let me know what you see way out there. Every third Friday at 2 o'clock Central on GJRB.